Jenny sent me a TikTok video that described a potential meltdown of a staking pool. And I follow some beautiful woman who is sort of like a crypto model, but she's also very knowledgeable and so forth. She also referenced a potential meltdown of like the second largest staking pool, sorry. But the one that Jenny sent me this morning, that person is gone, the video, and that person is now gone. So it smells just a little bit like a market manipulation. And you know, we don't know what happened. But the good news is we have Lyle, and we want to work with Lyle. And Travis, you can organize this into your white paper, just put, you know, a couple sentences. We need to find out what are like the best practices to lock down wallets and cold storage and so forth. Okay. Now, conveniently, Jenny, oh good, Jack's coming. Conveniently, Jenny and Mel have like 25 years of experience in banking. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to think, like, what are best practices in terms of how money is transferred? Morning, Jack. And what can we do and be public about to make sure these things don't happen to us? Lastly, I heard Vitalik say at the beginning of the year that there's new user interfaces that will make, that'll sort of move from the world of keys, where you can lose your key and lose everything, to things that are more like password resets and like group resets. So we got to work on that kind of best practices for what we're doing. We only have an ETH and a half right now in our wallet, but that's all right. You get started, you know, early and get it done right the first time. So that's a big thing for Jack and Travis. If you guys want to coordinate with Lyle, I was just saying, Jack, that it appears that there was potentially it's really like a bank on a staking pool. Someone opened the door, and this happened to the original DAO, if you know that story. I think they actually ended up forking it to like rescuing what was left. And, you know, this is part of the process. Vitalik and his gang, like at 6 o'clock in the morning in a hotel room, dealt with the breakdown of the original DAO. And like, he's a very cool-headed guy. But we need to be, you know, not only cool-headed, but like proactive as hell to show that we're doing this as good as anybody else. Because what we're talking about is so ambitious, and like so many, you know, we're taking on the mutual fund industry and so forth. So we have to have our shit together. So that's one big idea, is security. That's to focus on.
Does Lyle know much about?
I did some videos yesterday, and they seem. Yeah, that's all. He reached out to me and he said, I'm like the security guy.
Okay.
And I'd like to work with you guys.
Cool.
So that's good to have. It's good. You're just going to do that. Other parts of the team, Trevor has agreed to disagree and hand off what he's done to us and let us finish it with the help of Landon and what Travis has done, and to sort of lead into other things. Oh, good, Landon's here.
Oh,
great.
Perfect.
I'm gonna grab my raisin toast. Hold on. Hey, Landon, good morning.
Morning, what's up, man?
Thanks for joining us. We're really happy to have you with us. I think things are picking up a little bit of momentum. We talked about the potential that a relatively large, I think it's the second largest staking pool, about $70 million, may have locked up and maybe even been raided by one of the developers.
Tim, do you remember the name of it, at least?
No, but I'll give you give me just a second. Okay. Okay.
Oh, it's
Let's see.
Fireblocks.
Is the name of the staking pool?
Mm-hmm.
Is what?
So, here, I have a
Oh,
link.
good.
What was
Oh,
it,
cool.
Jack? Oh, there you got it.
Fireblocks.
Oh, you're so good.
No problem.
So we have this new guy on our team named Lyle, and this is his specialty. And so we're going to circle the ponies on that. But Landon, can you give us an update about where you are on digital strategy, white paper, and website?
Sure. So I cleaned up the white paper some. Some of the LinkedIn links on the bottom of it were busted. I think there's 3 people that are marked in it that I just need the correct links for. And I had seen the note about pictures. If I can get a headshot of everybody, that's all I need. I can make it, crop it and format it into the bottom there, so it would have like their picture, name, and then a title under it, and then maybe like a LinkedIn icon to click into their social. As far as the brand itself goes, are you happy with the image and iconography of everything so far? Because if you are, I can write up a brand guide just based on what you guys have, and we can run with the imaging that you have already. Because that's the one thing I have to have solidified before finishing out any sort of design, just because it's so easy to backtrack and, you know, redo work.
My answer to that is yes, but let's go around the horn and see what other people think.
I think we're good as is, especially with that circular, intersecting lines. And any change we do, I would also want to update the actual Bruno Crypto LinkedIn, which I just have set up under my LinkedIn account, but everyone can feel free to go and add their work experience or current employer. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I noticed one thing on the mothership page. You probably have already fixed it, but one of the arrows is misdirected.
Yeah, it's off by a little bit. Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about? This one here. That little arrow doesn't actually, it should be here connecting down to here, but it's kind of like floating out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's maybe because it's on a mobile phone. We'll have to figure out a way to make it.
Oh, perhaps. I'll pull it on my.
But if, yeah, that's definitely
bugs like that from device to device.
for sure.
Good, get twisted. Travis, how do you feel about our branding and imagery and so forth?
I mean, I guess I gotta say it's good because I put together like kind of the first mock of the website and the white paper kind of layout. So I mean, I like it, but I'm not offended if anyone wants to make any changes at all.
We're all friends here. No, so Landon, I'm going to say we're good to go. Cool. Because I think we're going to hit 10,000 followers like in the next 48 hours, and then I'm going to do a deep dive on Sunday. And I think our shit's about to get real. And if you don't mind, I'll just steer the conversation in a slightly different direction. I told Jack as we've put together, like Jenny has done in her business with banking and moving money around for like years and years and years, you almost get like a intuitive idea of like how all these things work. And so that sort of hit me this week, is that we can make the kinds of things that we're talking about in tokenization. I'm just using that broadly, but specifically DAO squared, available to retirement plans. And so I did a couple of videos on that yesterday, and they appear to be blowing up. Like I usually put up a thing and I get like 250 hits and like 7 people say, hey, that was cute. But this seems to be like an order of magnitude bigger, because we're really talking about gunning for like the whole retirement industry, which is, so you may or may not know that there's, you know, the classic Charles Schwab's and Fidelities and all those things. When you open up an IRA, it's actually a trust. It's actually a custodial trust. So like if Jack has an account like a Charles Schwab in his own name, it just says his name. It says Jack Polizzi IRA, etc. So that there's rules like a trust on how money can go in and out of that. So there's these other companies like Kingdom Trust, IRA Financial, Bitcoin IRA, Entrust. I've worked with about 3 or 4 of them. So I reached out to Kingdom Trust, a woman I've known for many years, who's her business development person. Her name's Tara Bogard. She lives in Murray, Kentucky. Quick joke, if you don't mind. One day I said to her, I said, Tara, you guys are really, this was like 2.5 years ago. I was like, you guys are really going hardcore into the digital asset space. And she said, yeah, we've made a big decision strategically that that's what the future is. And I shouldn't have said this. Jenny knows I can get a little un-PC every once in a while. I was like, how does a company in Murray, Kentucky, like get on the cutting edge of like financial technology? And she like affected a real thick Kentucky drawl and said like, well, we're just down here barefoot, you know, missing a couple teeth, trying to stay in business or something like that. Anyway, so we're sort of friends, and we've talked every couple months over the last couple of years. And they were one of the sponsors of the Wyoming Stampede. I think they're growing so fast that they have growing pains. I also reached out to business development people at IRA Financial, who has a strategic partnership with Gemini. And Gemini is owned by the Winklevoss twins, you know, and it's not a household name, but I think it will be over time. And, you know, the Winklevosses are like on CNBC, and they're sort of, you know, spokesmodels for like the whole world of Bitcoin and crypto and so forth. So what we want to do is, and I've talked to Jack a little bit about this, is we can take our token and line up a relationship with one of these custodial IRAs and have people invest in the token through a private placement. Now, it's a little convoluted. It takes a little bit of paperwork. It's not like just jumping on Kraken and like buying a token, or jumping on Uniswap and buying a token. But here's the problem. If we have this token DAO squared, which we're pretty proud of, right? Because we think because it's levered. It's like, do you want to own a share of McDonald's, or do you want to own a franchise of like 25 McDonald's, right? The second one's going to make more money than the share of stock. So, but it's hard to get on these exchanges, right? You have to have a certain amount of volume, a certain amount of market cap. I haven't even really looked into that. But someday we hope that, you know, DAO squared is on Gemini, and people can just open up an IRA financial account. They can buy whatever they want on Gemini, and our token will be there too. But until then, but I like this idea that we're what's the word? Like, you know, going into the fray of how all these systems fit together. And even if you do a transaction by hand, I mean, literally, I've had the conversation with several people that I use these systems for. We bought some real estate, and they were like, they called me like after the transaction, like 2 months later, and they're like, Jimmy, something's wrong. Like $4,000 hit my account today. And I was like, yeah, that's the shit you invested in. I didn't say it like that, but you know what I mean? And they're like, am I going to get that every month? I'm like, yeah, we did it. And they're like, wow, this is great. Like, so people don't even know that like investing can work like that anymore. Like that's how grandma used to invest in AT and US Steel. So she'd walk to when I was a broker, there was an old guy who told me, if you get a new account, make sure you set up the account to send the dividends out to their mailbox, and let them walk around with that piece of, you know, like let them go like this and go to the bank with it. Because if you just shoot it into their checking account, it doesn't have the same effect. But You've heard all my TikToks, and like the Fed has removed all of that thinking from the system completely. So no, but we can do this. This isn't really that hard. And what I'm going to ask both companies for is a point of contact for our clients. So just so you know how it works, we're allowed to recommend them, but they're not allowed to recommend us. In other words, they don't sign off on any specific investment. So like Kingdom Trust will look at our documentation and make sure it has some, is everybody still there? I think you're all frozen.
No, we're here. It's your internet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sucks living in the country. Where was I? So we're allowed to recommend them. They're not allowed to approve or disapprove of us. They just make sure the paperwork looks right. So really all we'd need, roughly speaking, is a subscription agreement. Next, we have there's two other big ideas that I want to throw out there, and I'm going to start doing videos on them. And I really want these to be posted as soon as they're done every day, so people really see that there's like momentum in our business. You know, it's not just me being edgy and using the F-bomb and stuff like that, but like the business has like is rolling along. I think we should do a letter to the SEC, and that should reference an airdrop. And an airdrop is, and I just read about this in the last couple of days. I didn't know that SushiSwap was built on the Uniswap v2 protocol. And they sort of hijacked it, and then they incentivized, I mean, this is all part of the fun of DeFi, right? And then they incentivized it by encouraging tokens, just like ours, to go do business there, and they would subsidize the transaction with SushiSwap coin. And it's actually interesting, it's like, how did Wendy's become a burger place? It just pretty much copied, McDonald's, and just did things just a little bit different. But it's interesting, if you read that story, the founder, nobody knows who the founder is, left with $10 million of the coin whenever they went public, whenever they had their ICO. And then like a couple of days later came back and put the money back in. I think that's very funny. But why am I going on about this? So shortly thereafter, that's when Uniswap airdropped Uni to, I think it was everybody who had done $400 in transactions. So we could do something like that, sell the original DAO2 token, and with a little bit of regulatory clearance, just give away this general partner. And it would have an impact, I think, a lot like Uni. People would go, what the? Because I don't think, when you say carried interest and shit, people don't know what you're talking about, right? If I said we own 25 McDonald's and we get 10% of the profits, people understand that. The problem is I can't say that right now live. I can't say those words. I mean, I can maybe muddy the waters a little bit by saying that transaction, that airdrop would only be approved after 51% of the tokens are out of the original 1%. That might be the way to proceed. But I think this requires a letter that would follow right in line with, we could reference Ethereum and say, we think we're just moving piles of Ethereum around. We could say, we're trying to do something that's a lot like the Uniswap airdrop. And if you think differently, please let us know. Then we should very quickly follow on with an S1. Because after you file an S1, you can do whatever you want. You could be listed in the pink pages, the pink sheets of the NASDAQ. So an S1 is a pretty substantial process, though. It's expensive, but I think we should be the people who just like don't run into the flames of DeFi, but actually like call the fire department. That was good.
That was good.
No, but I think if we start talking like that, it's going to catch the attention of not only hardcore DeFi people who love Ethereum and are young and don't have a lot of money and blah, 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 and they can go open up a Roth at IRA Financial. We send them the paperwork and they buy a little bit of our token, okay? That's not really doing anything too evil. By the same token, with 10,000 followers, I would be surprised if we don't have pretty significant eyeballs. For example, I did a search for Web 3.0 on TikTok yesterday, and my video came up number 6. So like we're right there, like we're right in the position we want to be. And I think we just have, from a regulatory standpoint, we just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And then this airdrop thing is like, you know, it's also a little bit like, if I remember right, in business school, I learned when Sam Adams went public, they put on like the wrapper of the top of the bottle, like something you could pull off and like send in or call in or something like that and buy the stock. It's almost like an airdrop on a bottle of beer. So we could put something like that together. I mean, that is what we're trying to put together. Let me see if I missed anything else. All right, so Landon, can you give us like a final report on time frame for when we can have a website and a white paper live and we can point to it and you know, it's sort of eyeball ready?
Yeah. Give me 3 days. Oh,
Perfect.
sorry. Okay, I thought
It doesn't even have to be done by Sunday. Just announce, if we did, yeah, even if we just announce on Sunday that it'll, you know, it'll all be live 4 o'clock on Monday.
Perfect.
You know, it just keeps bringing the story, and you know, it's like anticipating, you know, somebody dropping an album or something. But hey, Albert, how are you?
Oh, I did have a question about
I think
the
he's there. He's just
Sorry,
videos.
hey, how are you? The videos from the individual members.
No, there was a section in the wireframe for the website where it would have videos on like how to purchase the token. Is that going to be put in after
No, skip
after the
that.
website? Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Videos. What
Landon,
we really want
you have a current version of
is a link that just goes to Jeff.
oh yeah, sorry, just to add to that, do you have a current version of like what the website layout should be? Just out of curiosity, because I think the video link one might have been from a little further back. I can send you the newest one.
Yeah, Landon, that may be one of the first that I sent you.
Oh, so there's a newer
Travis, if you do that
draft.
right now as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll send it over.
And it's much better. It's
Okay.
much better.
Can I ask
Hey,
you?
Landon, do you want to send, Travis is sort of going to operate as the operations person. Do you want to send him the request for what you need? I think it's a couple things related to LinkedIn and so forth.
Yep.
Just so that we can click these things off as fast as we can, because how this works. Like I told Jack I was going to send him a link to Coinbase Institutional yesterday at 4 o'clock, and I forgot. Like every time you like let 20 hours go by, I've done enough startup work to just know that you have to seize the day, as they say. So Jenny, do you have, or do you want to do a Woman's Dow page for the white paper?
Yes, I will work on that, and I can have that done by Sunday. Is
Cool.
that okay?
Cool.
Cool.
Yep.
I got a question for either.
What else, Travis?
A quick question for Jack or Jenny in regard to listing this our DAO 2 on an exchange. Do we happen to have a contract number for Ethereum to like the Uniswap one, or is that going to come later?
It'll come later. We pretty much, we're just going to contract Garda again. There are ways to do it through like MetaMask or something.
Mm-hmm.
But considering we're trying to work with Garda throughout this whole process, we're just going to use their service that will automatically generate a contract number.
It'll put it up already. Okay, cool.
Okay, so why don't we like all do what we need to do for Landon? And the other thing I just use your opinion on, I think the black and white that I did yesterday really like shows up, because we don't have really good lighting where I am, and you know, we're not trying to look like very well produced. So the black and white sort of goes in the other direction. So if anybody has any opinions on that, and that's about it. I'm going to reach out to Lyle and be like, okay, Lyle, how do we not fuck this up? Like what is, do a deep dive on all things Ethereum and Ethereum-based wallets, and how can we do this like best of breed? So that's my next move in terms of building things out. So lastly, Jack, when can we get Ron his token?
So, oh yeah. Just final things to solidify. Do you want the word "the" in the token? So DAO of DAOs or the DAO of DAOs?
No, I'd rather just be DAO too.
Drop the.
Well, that'll
do
be the ticker, but you know the token itself is gonna have a
ticker. No, I'd call it DAO
yeah.
squared. I think DAO squared. I think DAO squared
Okay.
is cute. I actually got the idea by talking in robotics, and I said, Dan, why don't you build a robot? I said, you can call it robot squared. So that was originally where the idea came from.
Ticker DAO2, and I was just gonna keep general divisibility. You can set how divisible the token is. That's standard. Oh, never mind. Oh, sorry, the Zoom thing came up. So the the divisibility, the standard is you can go out to 18 decimal points. That's just like the default.
That's plenty.
Yeah, I was gonna say. But yeah, then that's it. I can get Ron do you still want to send Ron 1,000 or it would be more than 1,000 since he sent us about an ETH and a half. So
1,500.
More like 1,500. Okay.
I think. Yep. Do 1,500. Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Let's leave it there. Thanks everybody. It was fun.
Thank you.
See you Tuesday at 10:30.
Bye, guys.
See y'all.
All right.
Nice day. Have a nice
All right.
week.